I think you start with a bad beginning and then work downhill. I think the appropriate thing that would have been done or should have been done, given the seriousness of the allegations, was that the lead outside director would have provided a 5-minute or so update on the legal realities and perhaps a timing on when these realities would be resolved. Second, I think the call, at least this far, was excessively lengthy. The quarter is a slow quarter in the media. The real fun begins when the fall season comes on. The business is okay. I think it's going to get better. We've got a strong economy. I'm a little worried about the auto industry, but I'm very excited, as I said earlier, about the sports. Stock price is reasonable. However, it's not business as normal. We're not in Kansas. Les indicated that the earnings were before unusual charges. The unusual charges in this quarter were $35 million. And that's even before the legal investigation costs start to mount. And those are going to be incredibly significant. And these are cash costs. And it's nice for the companies on their calls to say, well, we only want to discuss operating earnings. But meanwhile, the cash is going out the door. I look at cash on a sequential basis. It didn't build in the quarter. So all is not really good in Oz at this point. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done in clarifying exactly what is happening and who is responsible, or was there bad behavior, and how will it be dealt with?
I mean, Mike, it was so typical Moonves, upbeat, cheerleader, talking up the shows. He sounded good. I mean, this is one reason why investors love him. Sure. But to hear him like this now, and to just, for the IR guy, the investor relations, to say at the outset, we're going to keep all the questions and the comments to the results. I mean, what a letdown.
His message has always been, we've got this figured out. We had it figured out a long time ago. And to Larry's point, seems like they were trying to chew up the clock with this call. I mean, obviously, I think they certainly wanted to have him on there. They did one of the questions about, gee, what is he hiding from? But then not addressing it. You hide behind a little bit of a legal disclosure and say somehow legal counsel has said we shouldn't talk about it. You know, obviously, they're going to try to, I suppose, slow walk this whole investigation process for now.
Why?
To see where it goes.
Karen, what's your take?
I agree. I mean, I think that, you know, the quarter was fine, but it was sort of hidden behind the two very big elephants in the room. What is the future of Les Moonves there? And what is the future of this company as a standalone entity? So maybe they couldn't talk about the Viacom stuff because, we're going to find out in court in October which way that's going to go. But I agree with, I think it was Larry who said, they should have come out with some statement. Or if they weren't going to come out with anything, they should not have waited for the first 30 seconds of the call to do that. They should have told investors beforehand, we are only going to talk about our quarter. So I think that, they want to try and, the subscription growth, that's all great, but none of that is really what investors are focusing on right now when there's these two other very big issues that are more at the forefront.
Absolutely. Karen Finerman, thanks for weighing in. We know you have to get ready for your show. We'll see you at the top of the hour for Fast Money. In the meantime, Stephanie Link, as an investor,
hey, where is
and what do you do?
The stock is
trading, what, below 10 times earnings? So it's cheap. And I guess you're wondering, is this an opportunity, or is there just too much uncertainty that's not getting cleared up on the call right now?
Yeah, I just don't think, you have catalysts, right? I mean, eventually the resolution of this, but you really don't know the timeline at all. So, yes, it's cheap at 9 times earnings. I thought the quarter was good enough at this valuation, I would say, right? 9 times earnings, it's down 11% on the year. They beat on revenues, they beat EBITDA. But I just feel like there's so many other names that I can invest in. I don't necessarily need to do this one.
Bill, in terms of the fact that Leslie Moonves is still CEO, that he's not had any kind of temporary reprieve, and he's on the call, if a question is asked of him about this sexual harassment allegation, should he answer it? Or can he hide behind a kind of the IR, the legal team say, I mustn't ask this?
Yeah, I think he's going to hide behind the legal advice he's getting from Wachtell. He was going to be able to say that there's a special committee that's been set up. It's hired 2 major law firms, including Mary Jo White, the former head of the SEC and U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York, So he's not going to answer these questions. They've made that very clear. I'm not the least bit surprised that they're trying to take a business as usual approach. I would never have expected them to get onto this call and start talking about these allegations. They have a system set up. They have a process set up, and they're going to stick to it because that's what their lawyers are telling them to do. And by the way, Les's contract is very clear that he has to be doing business as usual, or else he's entitled to say that his duties have changed and he can ask for a big payout.
Good point there, Bill Cohan. Julia Boorstin, who covers the company and who's covered Les Moonves, just want to bring you in with some reaction about what does it say about where the company is right now that he was on the call with business as usual and no mention of the allegations.
Well, after reading his statement to The New Yorker, which was pretty detailed and nuanced in response to those allegations of sexual misconduct, I did expect him to say something on the call, giving some sort of, not explanation, but some sort of response, and then saying that the investigation is ongoing. So I was surprised he didn't say anything, but I think that what some of your other guests on the show have said is right. The company is trying to show its business as usual. Moonves just spent 15 minutes outlining the company's growth, talking about digital growth in particular, trying to remind investors that regardless of the fact that the stock is down 9% before this news broke on Friday, that he's doing a good job preparing the company for the digital future, et cetera. So I think that the fact that they're really focusing on those digital growth numbers, talking about the fact that advertising is going to be strong for the midterm elections, is they're trying to change the narrative and distract away from these allegations. But it'll be interesting to see if any of the analysts decide to ask a question despite the warning that Moonves can't talk about this, or if they sort of respect that warning from the IR person saying that there will be no commentary about the allegations.